Sauber is the only team on the grid right now who is holding a seat that could belong to a palette of drivers, including ones that have gone into retirement with quite a successful career, like Sebastian Vettel. The new leader of the Swiss team, Mattia Binotto, has shared his thoughts on the four-time world champion, and it seems like he's very close to negotiating a comeback of the German driver sooner rather than later. But will Vettel be open for a journey like this in his career? And if so, will it be in a similar fashion to how his idol Michael Schumacher rejuvenated the lifeline of Mercedes? It's safe to say that the silly season really didn't disappoint a single bit ahead of the new campaign in 2025, as we're set to see a bunch of new rookie drivers in the names of Doan, Antonelli and Behrman. However, there is a huge certainty that a veteran and a driver who's won 51 races in his career, Sebastian Vettel, will be the last piece of the missing puzzle ahead of 2025 due to the recent development of events that happened in Sauber, with the Swiss company set for a complete buyout from Audi starting from 2026 and the new regulations. Mattia Binotto has been appointed as the COO and the CTO of the team, and we all know how close of a relationship he holds with Vettel, despite many blaming him for casting some dark moments on his career during the Ferrari stint. And the Swiss engineer has opened up on the opportunity to sign Vettel next to Hulkenberg. Talking about this, he said, "I love Sebastian. I know him very well from the past and I appreciate working with him. I know how strong he is as a person and as a driver." Of course, the last thing that we want to do here is throw rumours that Bonotto and Vettel had a talk about a seat from 2025 onwards, but the positive comments and the fact that Bonotto didn't even mention that Vettel isn't looking to come back into the sport in a similar fashion like Wolff mentioned when Sebastian was related to the Mercedes seat is a good start of things to come. Right now, Audi is in a very unique situation where they managed to sign an experienced driver from their homeland, Nico Hulkenberg, but to compare his success to Vettel just makes no sense. And if they have the opportunity to have the influence of the four-time championship winner in the similar fashion that Michael Schumacher had with Mercedes back in 2010, it would definitely be a move that Audi should consider seriously. This isn't the first time that Vettel is related to a comeback in the sport, as back in 2022, when Perez's seat was endangered for far different reasons than what it is right now, Helmut Marko openly admitted that they wanted to offer the seat to their former driver, but it wouldn't be aligned with the team's mentality and position. At that point, and even today, it's Verstappen who is the dominating driver in Red Bull, and according to Marko, a proposal like this would have only ruined the career and the mark that Vettel left on the sport after his retirement. Be that as it may, the situation is vastly different with Sauber and Audi now, because Vettel might find more joy and working energy for a team from his own country, Audi, just like Michael Schumacher did back in 2010 with Niki Lauda and turned Mercedes into one of the most successful teams of all time in the span of just 3 years. The initial goal for Audi was also 3 years before they start competing for race wins, but with the latest development of events and allocations of senior engineers, we may be looking at a closer time frame for Audi's race-winning campaign, and Vettel could be a crucial piece of this puzzle. Bonotto himself admitted that he genuinely doesn't know whether the team should choose youth over experience for the second seat, and when talking about this to a greater extent, the Swiss engineer said, "It's a couple of weeks that I'm in Sauber, so it's early for me, but it's definitely something that we need to judge. Are we going for experience or something else? This is a project which is looking to a long-term objective, so the question is, what is the best for us from now to the final goal? Is it more having short-term experience and then moving to something different? We need to decide, and today I think we are not in the position to answer." Obviously, Vettel's impact would be more of a mid to long-term investment from the team, because if we're to look at the pattern of Mercedes, Schumacher left the team in 2013, and 1 year after, when the turbo hybrid era was introduced, the Brackley-based squad wiped the floor with the entire grid, as they were able to be on top of the table on almost every single racing weekend. Whether or not this will be an achievable goal for a team who is just entering the sport and is lacking a lot of experience on the majority of fields? Time will tell, but the latest moves on the inside of Audi's structure, as well as the fact that they're entering the sport with their own engine from the first year, is definitely boding well for the future of Audi. On the other hand, there are lots of young drivers who are eager to prove themselves and have been part of Sauber's long-standing academy, such as Theo Pourchaire, and with Alonso openly admitting that he is having conversations with Bonotto about the career of the current F2 superstar, Gabriel Bortoleto, Vettel might not have the easiest path to return to the sport if he chooses that he wants to do so. Of course, the four-time champion is yet to change his mind when it comes to racing, and while he has hinted a couple of times that his time in Formula One is far from over, all of these signs are bleak and we need something more concrete and precise. Maybe the answer lies in Audi's project after all. Still, the flow of things is a bit complicated right now, and when talking about it, Bonotto admitted that the team has a lot of choices on their table, including drivers who are part of other teams' academies, such as Liam Lawson. While it's hard to imagine that Red Bull would loan the Kiwi driver to another team because they have plans for him sooner rather than later, the option stands as it is, and it's another hurdle that Vettel would have to pass if he's to make a surprising comeback to the sport. Talking about all of the viable options for Audi in the following period, Bonotto continued, "We are certainly listening to all potential drivers. We are certainly evaluating what the pros and the cons are for the best compromise. We will decide as soon as possible, no doubt, because we need to set up for the team for the next year and for the future. We need to, as well, stop any speculations because it is not in our interest. But so far, there is no decision on what will be best." What is also worth mentioning is that while Audi might not go for Vettel, they could go for a driver who the four-time champion is very close with, and that is the son of his idol and mentor, Michael Schumacher. Mick has been harshly roasted by James Vowles' latest comments, and even though he wanted to apologise and make things right, it seemed like his comments have had a much larger impact on the career of the former Haas driver, who is now in a very serious threat of giving up on the entire Formula One dream. Vettel might work towards this scenario and serve as a mentor for Mick the same way that his father did for Sebastian when he was entering the sport, but in order for him to do so, he would have to give up on the scenario of leading a team from zero to championships in a certain time span like Michael did back with Mercedes. And furthermore, the most logical solution for the seat, as all things stand right now, is Valtteri Bottas, who is still actively racing and has won 10 races in his career with Mercedes. So if we are to compare the longevity and the discipline of the current grid, the Finn might be the best choice that Audi has on their table. Still, they are very reluctant to pick Valtteri as the driver next to Hülkenberg, and Vettel's hot and cold game of coming back in the sport is not helping Bottas at all. When talking about this to a greater extent, Bottas said, "I just need to set myself targets. I need to set myself goals and try to achieve those. In the end, it's all relative. Obviously, it's always more motivating if you're fighting for better positions. That is why I need to play games with my head and create some personal targets and try and go for those. Obviously, a big motivation is still the future. I am sure the teams know I am still giving it my all." What we need to know is that where Kick Sauber is right now is definitely not their goal for 2025, let alone 2026, which is why the motivation from Vettel or any other driver's side will not be on the low side. With all this in mind, do you think that the German driver will sign a contract with Audi to try and complete a mission that was once completed back in 2010 by another dominant German driver? And furthermore, do you think this is all part of Audi's big plan of having an all-German lineup? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and once you've done that, have a look at the video that's appearing on your screen right now.